Use this 50-30-20 rule to manage your money. In this video, we show you how to manage your money by using the 50-30-20 rule. If you want to become better at managing and saving money, this video is right for you. Fast track your wealth and get more life-changing, mindset-shifting, and great content regularly. Only here at WealthMatic. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more money content by clicking the icon below. Now, before we get into the juicy details, I just want to add a little disclaimer. I may have experience in finance, but I am not in any way a financial expert. I only deliver knowledge in a fun way. So if your finances are on the decline, please go see a financial advisor. And with that said, let's get started with the video. It seems like we have to spend a lot of money in order to simply live. When you're working daily and receiving checks on a routine basis, it's easy to lose sight of your costs. If you already have a limited income, you'll have to make it work on less to save up for more, or you'll have to dip into your resources and buffers. So here is when the 50-30-20 rule for financial planning comes into play. Set aside 50% of your revenue for fixed costs, 30% for variable spending, and 20% for future savings. To help us in demonstrating this rule, I'd like you to meet Rob. Let's say Rob earns $10,000 a month. Using the 50-30-20 rule, Rob will need to split his cash as follows. 50% of his cash at $5,000 will go into his own necessities. 30% of his money at $3,000 will go into his desires, and the remaining 20% of his money at $2,000 will go into his accounts for debt repayment. You too will have to split your money into multiple categories, just like Rob. Isn't it simple? But let's take another look at it. We may begin utilizing this rule now that our revenue has been calculated. The fixed cost portion of the 50-30-20 rule is the first section. These are the expenditures that cannot be avoided. This includes your electric and water bills, as well as your home, security, and other recurrent expenses. This is the first phase, fixed expenses. Make a list of your priorities. You can't survive without the things you need. Shelter, healthcare, commuting, electricity, food, and the minimum spending for clothes as well as footwear and other daily necessities are all included. In this section, only list stuff that you can't live without. This is a great time to make a plan if you don't already have one. Within this section, carefully consider whatever you spend your pay on monthly. According to Warren and Tiaki, which are financial gurus, this section should not account for more than 50% of your monthly revenue. If so, then it's not right. Don't be alarmed if you spend more than half of your salary on necessities. All you must do is to take a close look at what you've got. Everything you have to do is to keep track of how much money you spend monthly. A good guideline is to keep track of your expenses so you can see where your cash goes. You'll know wherever your cash is spent after you figure out where it's heading. Reduce excessive spending or look for affordable alternatives to suit your needs. Once you've reached the 50% restriction on your budget, now you may go on to the next phase. 30%. Wants. All of the items you spend money on that aren't completely essential are considered wants. Dinners and movies, that new bag, sports ticket to the event, holidays, the latest technological gizmo, and ultra-high-speed internet are all examples. If you break it down, anything in the wants category is discretionary. Rather than going to the gym, you may exercise at home, cook rather than eating out, and enjoy sports on TV instead of purchasing tickets to the game. Now, putting 30% of your wage towards your need may seem like a bunch of cash, doesn't it? You could be thinking about a lovely pair of sneakers or that brand new iPhone that just launched. We're not speaking about purchasing excessive things that you might not even need. By wants, we imply costs that you may choose not to pay for, but without it, your existence would be more difficult. I'm not sure your life will be much more difficult without that new phone, but communicating without a cellular data service can be difficult. Things like your internet package and data plans should be included in this section. Expenses for residential cable, auto maintenance that aren't aesthetic, and so on. But you've probably figured it out by now. It might be difficult to tell the difference between wishes and demands at times. Whenever it comes to identifying a want, the best general rule is to ask yourself, can I live without it? When you can, then it's almost certainly a desire. The third phase, save up. This is to set aside 20% of your income for savings and debt repayment if you do have any. This cash may be put towards emergency savings, a down payment on a house, or retirement funds. If you think 20% will not be enough, then you can send extra funds from your checking account. The remaining 20% should be set aside for the future. This is how you'll accumulate the valuable reserves you'll need when you're on a fixed income in retirement. Moreover, if your pension budget permits it, you may even deposit the extra money to produce far more money the following year. This compounding will then provide you more flexibility in your total budget while also allowing you to save even more. Only debts that are greater than the minimum needed payment should be included in this section. Extra credit card payments or house payments to pay off debts faster, for example, could go into this area. However, minimum debt payments should surely go into the necessities group. The explanation for this is that making the minimum needed payments is mandatory, and failing to do so will have a negative impact on your credit score, and that's something you can't afford. The 50-30-20 rule is useful since it makes it simple to keep track of your spending. With only 3 main categories, you can design a simple framework that will surely help you concentrate and live within your means better. It's also less complex, thus it's appropriate for people who lead hectic lives and have limited time in their days. This rule is good for those with incomes between $106,000 and $160,000. It is not great for people with higher incomes because they'd be more compelled to spend on things they might not need. Budgeting is hard, and life sometimes tosses us unforeseen expenses. But people that follow the 50-30-20 rule have a strategy for managing their end income. If they discover that they spend more than 30% of their income on desires, they may find methods to cut back on those spending, allowing them to invest cash towards more vital things like crisis reserves and pension. Living should be cherished, and while living like a hermit is not encouraged, developing a strategy and keeping to it can help you pay your bills, save for the future, and do all the good things. Many folks find that following the 50-30-20 rule has certainly helped them get their budget back on track. So a slew of financial gurus swear by this rule. Many individuals who've been in bad financial situations have been able to get out by following this approach. And that is all for today's video. With that stated, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you want to elevate your life from the one you have to the one that you desire and deserve, make sure to click the subscribe button right now. This has been the one and only WealthMatic, and we'll see you on our next video.